Albertian Institute of Science and Technology. Make engineers, not just engineering graduates.
Hello dear students, I am Sheeja from Department of Civil Engineering, Albertian Institute of Science and Technology. In this video, we will be discussing about network diagrams from the course Civil Engineering Project Management. The objective of this lecture is to construct simple network diagrams. After the session, the learner will be able to define different terms used in network diagrams and to construct simple networks. The general outline of this lecture is introduction, then moving on to network techniques, key terminologies, then how to represent networks, then certain rules in constructing a network, and we will see some examples also. Then moving on to introduction. A project, it is an organized process to achieve a common goal. It shall have its own characteristics so that it can be completed within the estimated cost and time. It also involves planning, scheduling and controlling a number of interrelated activities with the use of limited resources, namely men, machines, materials, money, and also time. So the main three phases of project management are planning, scheduling and controlling. Coming on to planning, it is nothing but setting the objective of the project, identifying various activities to be performed and determining the requirement of resources. So while planning a project, three main questions has to be answered: what to do, when to do and how to do. Next phase is scheduling. Scheduling is nothing but determination of time required for executing each activity and also the consequence in which these activities have to be carried out. And the last phase is controlling. Controlling is a process in which differences between the planned and actual performance are reviewed once the project has begun. So it is nothing but analyzing and evaluating the actual progress against the plan. Now we will see what are network techniques. Network techniques are effective tools for planning, scheduling and controlling construction jobs. Earlier, bar charts were used normally to do planning, scheduling and controlling. These bar charts are nothing but pictorial representation showing various jobs to be done and time and money they involve. But these bar charts have certain limitations, and these limitations are due to the following reasons. Bar chart clearly does not show any interrelationship between activities. That is, if two or more activities are scheduled to start at the same time, it does not make them interdependent or completely independent. The next limitation is it depicts the time schedule for various activity, but it does not show the quantity of work done. Bar chart does not indicate the progress of the work. So progress of the work is an effective control device, but it is not depicted in case of bar charts. And the last limitation is it do not indicate any critical activities requiring careful attention of the construction team. So once critical activity is not indicated, then rescheduling and accelerating the project completion will be a hard task. So network techniques will provide a rational approach to planning and controlling of construction works. So the application of these techniques is inevitable when there is a constraint on resources and a need for higher productivity. The commonly used network techniques are PERT and CPM. PERT stands for Program Evaluation and Review Technique, developed during 1950s. These are used for projects where prior data about the activity is not available. whereas CPM stands for Critical Path Method, which was developed by DuPont Company and applied first to the construction projects in the chemical industry. CPM is normally used for repetitive type of projects. PERT lays emphasis on reducing project completion time without any cost constraint, whereas CPM places emphasis on optimizing the resources and minimizing the overall project cost. So this is about PERT and CPM. We are not going in detail about PERT and CPM. We'll first understand how to draw network diagrams which will be used in case of CPM and PERT. Before moving on to network diagrams, we shall see some key terminologies that are normally used. The first one is activity. Activity is nothing but a performance of a specific task, operation, job or function which consumes time and resources and has definite beginning and end. In the sense, if you take a construction project, an example of an activity is excavating foundation, fixing reinforcement, etc. So in case of network diagrams, activity is represented by an alphabet A and it is always indicated or denoted by an arrow. So an arrow will be drawn and activity will be written above the arrow. So here A is called an activity. The next one is event. Event is a point in time marking the beginning and ending of one or more activities. Here the event consumes no time or no resources. It is normally denoted inside a circle. So here I and J indicates event. So this I and J should be always indicated inside a circle. So the ith event is called as tail event and jth event is called as head event. Then the next one is network. Network is a diagrammatic representation of a work plan showing the activities step by step leading to a established goal. So it depicts the interdependence between various activities. Now we shall see different types of activities. The first one is predecessor activity. These are activities that must be completed immediately prior to the start of another activity. So in this figure you can see the predecessor of activity C is activity A. In the same way, the predecessor of activity D is activity B. So, the activity C can be started only after completing activity A. In the same way, activity D can be started only completing activity B. So, these are called as predecessor activities. Then moving on to successor activity. So, activities that cannot be started until one or more of other activities are completed but immediately succeed them are called successor activities. So, moving on to the figure again, the successor activity of activity A is activity C and in the same way the succeeding activity of B is activity D. So, C and D, C can be started only after completing A and D can be started only after completing B. Then next one is concurrent activities. So, activities that can be started simultaneously are called as concurrent activities. So, in this figure you can start activity A and activity B simultaneously because there are no preceding activities here. So, these activity A and B are called as concurrent activities. Then we shall see some important events. First one is bursting events or burst events. One or more activities can start simultaneously at an event. So, you can see the figure here, these are called as bursting events. So, here 3 activities have started from a single event. So, this is called as bursting events or burst events. The next one is merging events or merge events. One or more activities can simultaneously end at an event. So coming back to the figure, you can see here merging events. There are 3 activities which are coming and ending at a single event. So that is called as merging events. Then again merging and bursting events. So when these 2 figures are joined together or combined together will give you merging and bursting events. That is, one or more activities can start and end simultaneously at an event. Then one of the important terminology is dummy activity. So an activity which does not consume any resources or time is called as dummy activity. It is an artificial activity. It is just to show the interdependency between the activities, and normally it is denoted using dotted line. So in order to show the dependency between B and C, this dummy activity has been introduced. So the next one is how to represent networks. It is normally represented by 2 systems. So the first system is activity on arrow system, or generally called as AOA system. Activity represented by an arrow drawn from left to right. The description of the activity is written above the arrow and time taken to complete the activity is written below it. So it is indicated in the figure. So you will be drawing an arrow and the activity will be written above the arrow, and a duration, for example we can take it as 4 days, will be written below the arrow. The next one is an event. It is graphically represented by a number enclosed in a circle. So again, this is a circle. The number indicated inside will show you the tail event, and the number inside the circle will show you the head event. So here ith event is the tail event and jth event is the head event. So this is how you draw AOA system, and commonly used network technique is AOA system. And the second system is activity on node system, normally called as AON system. Here activities are represented on the nodes and arrows are used just to show the dependency relationship between the activity nodes. So here you can see this is the node, the activity is indicated inside the node, and if you have to write the duration, you can also write the duration inside the activity itself. So the arrow just shows the relationship between the activities. So here it indicates activity B can be started only after completing activity A. So this is about activity on node system. In this video, we will be discussing only about activity on arrow system, that is AOA system, which are normally used in the network techniques. Now let us see some important rules in constructing a network. The rule number 1. No single activity can be represented more than once in a network. So the length of an arrow has no significance. So if you are using an activity A, so it can be indicated only once. This 8th activity should not be duplicated again. And the length of this arrow has no significance. It has no relationship with the duration of the activity. Then the rule 2. The event numbered 1 is the start event, and an event with highest number is the end event. Before an activity can be undertaken, all activities preceding it must be completed. Here, so the first event should always be started with 1, and the consequent events should have number greater than this 1. So the next one we can write it as 2, or again if you are continuing the networks, we can go on writing the even numbers in ascending order. 4. Okay, so the last event should have the highest number. So first event is number 1 and the last event has number 5. So always the last event should have the highest number. In the same way, if we name the activities as A, B, C, D and E, this A should be completed, then only we can start B and C. In the same way, D can be started only completing B and E can be started after completing C. So all the preceding activities must be completed before starting the next activity. And rule number 3. In assigning numbers to events, there should not be any duplication of event numbers in a network. As in the case of activities, even the event numbers should not be duplicated. So once you have used here number 1, that should not be used again. So if you use here 1 again, it is a wrong way of representing a network. So you can increment the number here. Instead of 1, we can use 3 here. Then moving on to rule number 4. Dummy activities must be used only if it is necessary to reduce the complexity of a network. Until and unless you need to draw dummy activities, it is better not to use it because it may make the network more complex. Then rule number 5. In any network, there should be one start event and one finishing event. No activity should be left dangling. That is, you cannot disconnect any activity before completing all activities. So I can show here. So this is a network shown. Let us take it as ABC. So you have another activity here. So this is your last activities. You cannot leave any activity without completing. So these activities are called as dangling activities. This should not happen in a network. So in any network, there can be only one start event and only one finish event. There should not be any dangling like this. Now, the errors that has to be avoided while drawing networks. So we shall see one by one. Two activities starting from a tail event must not have a same end event, and there should be only one start event and only one end event. This is a wrong way of drawing a network. So here there are two activities and it is having the same tail event and same head event. So this is an incorrect way of drawing a network. So even you can draw it by introducing a dummy activity. So this is a correct way of representing the network. You can introduce a dummy activity here. Then the next one is, no activity should lead back to previous event. The direction of arrows should be always from left to right. In the sense, there should not be any looping of event. So whenever you draw a network, the arrow should always move towards right only. You cannot come back to the previous event. That is, as shown in the figure, looping is not allowed in network diagrams. So these should be kept in mind before drawing the networks. Then some logics before we start drawing network diagrams. So we shall see 4 important logics before moving on to examples. So first, A. There are 3 activities, activity A, activity B and activity C. So activity B cannot start before completing activity A. In the same way, activity C cannot start before completing activity B. So this should be always kept in mind. Then the next one is, again 3 activities are shown here. Here activity B and C can be started only after completing activity A. Then the third one is, activity C can be started only after completing activity A and B. So, activity C can be started only after completing activity A and B. The last one is you can start activity C only after completing activity A and B, but activity D can be started after completing activity B. In the sense, this C activity is dependent on both A and B activity, whereas activity D is only dependent on activity B. So, these 4 rules are also to be kept in mind. Then moving on to numbering the events. We normally follow Fulkerson's rule for numbering events. We shall see one by one in steps. So, the first step is, in every network there is one initial event. The initial event has arrows coming out of it and no arrows entering it. So, the initial event will have only the arrows coming out of it and no arrows coming in. That is the initial event. Step 2 is neglect all arrows coming out of the initial event. This will give rise to one or more new initial events. So, you neglect this and start drawing other initial events. Then step 3, you can number the new initial event generated in step 2. See, first if you have used as even number 1, then you can go on increasing the order. This is 2 and 3 and 4. The next step, that is step 4, is neglect again all arrows coming out of the initial event. Then you can go on drawing the next event. Sequentially the network follows. So, the last event is, we shall number it as 5. So, you can repeat step number 4 till you reach the last event. So, the last event, as I said you earlier, should have the highest number. You can see the highest number in the network is number 5. So, these steps are to be kept in mind before drawing a network. Now, we shall move on to an example to develop a network. So, here in the table there are different activities, that is activity A, B, C, D, E and F. So, the preceding activity of each activity is also given in the second column. So, the preceding activity of A, it has no preceding activity, then of B is A, and C again A, D it is B, and for E it is C, and for F it is both D and E. Now, we shall start drawing the network. So, the first activity is activity A. Now, while starting the network, you need not worry about the numbering of events. We shall first construct the network using activities alone. So, the first activity is activity A. Then coming on to the next one, that is activity B. The preceding activity of B is activity A. So, it means that the succeeding activity of activity A is B. Then again coming on to activity C. So, the preceding activity of C is again A. So, the preceding activity of C is again A. The next one is D, activity D. So, the preceding activity of D is B. So, it is clearly shown in the network. The preceding one is activity B. Again, activity E, the preceding activity is C. Again, it is shown in the network. And the last activity, that is activity F, have two preceding activities, that is D and E. So, the activity F has two preceding activities, that is D and E. With this, we end the network. Then the next step is to number the events. As we have seen already, we should always start numbering from 1. So, we shall start like this, 1, then the next one is 2, 3, 4, 5 and the last one is 6. The highest number in the event is 6, which is the last event. So, this is how you draw a simple network diagram. Then we shall see another example also. The question goes like this. Draw a network for a house construction project. The sequence of activities with their predecessors are given in the table. So the table is shown here. The first column is name of the activity. It has activity A, B, C, D, E and F. The next column shows starting and finishing event of each activities. Then the third column shows the description of activity. So since it's a construction project, we have described starting from preparing the house plan, then constructing the house, fixing the doors and windows, wiring the house, painting the house and polishing the doors and windows. The next column shows the preceding activity of each activity considered. Then the last column shows the time duration taken by each activity. So now we shall start drawing the network. We shall not think about this description of the activity. We shall consider only activities as A, B, C, D, E and F. So the starting activity is activity A. So we shall start with activity A. So this is the first activity. Then moving on to activity B. Activity B has the preceding activity as activity A. So you can draw here the activity B. So the preceding activity of B is activity A. Then the next one is activity C. The preceding activity of C is again B. So the preceding activity of C is B. So you can draw C here. Then the next activity, activity D. Preceding activity of D is B again. So you can draw D here. So it clearly shows that preceding activities of activity C and D is B. The next activity is activity E. Activity E has the preceding activity as C. So activity E has the preceding activity as C. The last activity, that is activity F, has the preceding activity as activity D. So you can complete the network by showing the last activity, that is activity F. So this is how the network goes. So you can see the first activity, activity B, then with the next activity B with the preceding activity as A. Preceding activity A, then with C and D having preceding activities B, and with activity E having preceding activity C, and activity F having preceding activity D. So activities have been constructed. Then moving on to numbering the events. So it is clearly given here. A activity has starting event as 1 and ending event as 2. So A activity has starting event as 1 and ending event as 2. Then the activity B has starting event as 2 and ending event as 3. So activity B has starting event 2 and ending event as 3. Then the next activity C. Activity C has again starting event as 3 and ending event as 4. And the activity D has again starting event as 3 and ending event as 5. Then activity E has starting event as 4 and ending event as 6, and activity F has starting event as 5 and ending event as 6. So this is how you number the event. You can see the first event has number 1 and the greatest number, that is number 6, is for the last event. Now you have constructed the network. Now the last column which shows the duration. So always duration has to be written below the arrow. So activity A has 4 days duration, activity B has 58 days duration, and activity C has 2 days duration, and activity D has again 2 days duration, activity E has 1 day duration, and activity F again has 1 day duration. So this is how you draw a simple network. And the solution is shown here as a figure. You can refer this. So to summarize, we have studied about different terms like activity, event, and classification of activities and events, and different systems of network representation such as AOA system and AON system, and different rules for developing networks, and at last with the help of few examples we have studied to construct networks also. Hope you would have understood about the concepts of network diagrams. Thanks for watching.